Hey guys, it's Austin, and this video here is going to be about if you can't already tell, it's going to be about the U.S. Bill of Rights. And this is something that is very dear to me and should be dear to every other American, for this document has been torn to shreds over the last, I'd say 170, 180 years, but more so in the past 30. Our founders were incredibly smart men. Smarter than anybody alive today. They didn't have all of that processed garbage that we eat now, and they didn't get chemtrails sprayed on them by the British government, so they were indeed very smart. You probably see all the memes that have to do with, the founders revolted over a 3% tax on tea. That wasn't all of it, but that was like what people were saying though. But I'm just going to go through here, the Bill of Rights, and give my personal interpretation. Actually, it's not even my personal interpretation, it's exactly what it says. So the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Our founders believed that they needed to be outlined, and they needed to be the first 10 amendments, so everything else would be built around that, around freedom. And we'll get into separate parts of the Constitution after a while. If I sound weird right now, I'm outside and it is incredibly cold. So Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Pretty self-explanatory. The first line, that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. This is so the marriage of church and state could never become a thing here. There is no official state religion. It's not Christianity, even though some people might be like, oh, that would be a good thing. And it actually wouldn't, because freedom of religion, people in this country, it was built on freedom. So yeah, they would have to succumb to Christian ways. And Christianity has been corrupted, and there are only a few of us good, real Christians left. Now, obviously, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof means that they cannot come down on you for worshiping at the altar of your choosing. Oh, hold on, guys. My cigarette went out because I'm walking and talking. I'm kind of all over the place, and a car's coming, so. Okay. Or of the press, or of the people peaceably to assemble. Obviously, freedom of the press. Now people say like, oh, the press ain't free because they have controlled press in CNN, Fox News, CBS. And like, no, freedom of the press means anybody is free to have their own press. Like my YouTube channel, this is my free press. So I can say whatever I want on here. Obviously, YouTube will take me down eventually. It's technically their free press, but for now, this is my platform. And obviously, you have the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which we all see how they deal with actual peaceful protests. They come down on you pretty hard. Amendment 2. This is one of my favorites because it pretty much guarantees the rest of them, so long as we are willing and able to use it. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, there's a lot going on today with people talking about, oh, this means that means this. No, just what it means is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Now, back when the founders wrote the Constitution, they were basing it off of their definition at the time, which you can find in a Black's Law Dictionary or a copy of the 1618 British Constitution. Well-regulated militia, all it means is well-trained, in good working order population. And so this first part is saying a well-trained population is necessary to the security of freedom, basically. And the second line is self-explanatory. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Obviously, there are a lot of infringements on people's right to keep and bear arms, and they do a lot of psychological warfare on people to turn them against the idea that people should be armed, because we are the last country in the world that has enough arms to liberate ourselves and the entire world. That is going to change, because in the New World Order, nobody except for the totalitarian world government will have arms. Amendment 3. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Okay, none of us have had to deal with this, so I don't have much to say on that, but if they start putting troops in your house, cite the Third Amendment. If they still mess with that and say, oh, you got to keep this troops in your house, use that. Amendment 4. This one has been absolutely destroyed. Traffic stops, warrantless searches, all of that. But it reads, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Sometimes I've seen where they pull you over. I've been a victim of this. And they, with no probable cause, no reasonable suspicion, nothing, and they take everything you have, even things that don't matter. One time I had a cop take my pack of cigarettes, and, well, in Ohio and in the country now it's 21, but at the time it was 18. But yeah, this one is in a lot of trouble, because they're swatting people with no warrants, they're running up on people, no reasonable suspicion, no probable cause, and mainly people just let it happen. Amendment 5, we all know this one. I plead the fifth, like you see in Law and Order or anywhere else. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in the actual service, time of war, or in public danger, nor shall person be subject for the same offense to twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor deprived of life, liberty, or pursuit or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Well, if you don't know about the civil asset forfeiture, that's a new thing that they have, where they just take your stuff and they say, well, we kind of had to because civil asset forfeiture, and no one's going to do anything about it. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Now, this one, You always see people going to jail and they're being held because you are now guilty until proven innocent. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but now you are guilty until proven innocent. If I would go and commit a crime, they're going to throw me in jail until my court date. Whereas before, well, pre-1871 and pre-Civil War, you were innocent until they could gather the evidence to prove you guilty, and then they would come and they would take you to jail. Amendment 7. In suits at common law where the value, controversy shall exceed $20, the right of a trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. It's common sense. I don't really have to explain that one. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. How many times do you see somebody get thrown in jail on $500,000 bond for something really, really trivial, you could say? I personally believe if there's no victim, there's no crime. I currently know somebody being held right now on about $30,000 bond because they stole a couple things from a gas station. Now, yeah, stealing, wrong in the eyes of our Lord, morally wrong, of course, but all that money for just a couple of those things, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe in that, but I'm kind of on the fence. Amendment 9. The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. You see this every day. They're constantly using this and saying like, oh, well, we got to stick to the Constitution and we got to do this and we got to do that. But in other cases, they deny you your constitutional rights. They deny you your God-given rights individually. Amendment number 10. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or not and, or to the people. I'm going to read it again. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Now, in the Constitution, the federal government, their only job is to deal with foreign affairs and to protect the Constitution itself and freedom itself. That's it. Nothing else. Obviously, we know that's crap because of everything that they do. But we have to, we got to start doing something about this. It's pretty cold, so I might have been terrible at this entire video. So I'm still going to post it anyway, just because it's a very important thing. Also, something that I may have not mentioned, the Second Amendment. There are, if you read the writings of the founders, when they talk about the militia, there is the unorganized militia, which is you and I, whether you like it or not. You and I are part of the unorganized militia. We have a right to defend ourselves from external or internal or personal threats. The organized militia is if you in your community wanted to, like in your town, you wanted to get together and you wanted to come together to defend your town. That would be an example of the organized militia. The National Guard is not the militia. I'll repeat that. The National Guard is not the militia, because the National Guard is a part of the U.S. Army, which is a military branch controlled by the government. I see people all the time saying, oh, if you want to be a part of the well-regulated militia, go join the National Guard. Okay, So, yeah, the founders are going to liberate themselves from a tyrannical government, and then they're going to establish in the second article, in the Second Amendment that they write, that they want a well-regulated government army to secure a free state. No, they were not in that mindset. That argument doesn't even make sense to me or to anybody else that I talk to in my circle. Everybody knows the Supreme Court has ruled many times that the unorganized militia is anybody, now it used to be males, but anybody age 17 to 45, and if you were in the service, age 17 to 65. Obviously, older people personally still have a right to keep guns and whatnot, but fighting age, military age, and that's for the protection of freedom in this country. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart, the Constitution of the United States. I have a copy of it sitting on my shrine at home. I read it all the time. I exercise my rights, all of them. I'm currently exercising my first, second. Currently, yes, I carry. Well, none of the other ones right now because no one's trying to come at me. But yes, this is very important, and this is something that they want to destroy. And people seem to also forget that this was not given to us by our founders. These rights were given to us by God. And our founders just protected them and outlined them so we can understand it and so we can keep it. So far, not so good. Till next time.